to today's session. It is the Talk with me, Kimodo HSC. We have missed yet another episode, but here we are back at it again, discussing and sharing insights on the status quo in matters politics. And let's jump in. And the hottest topic in the streets is about the Deputy President's impeachment motion. Let's look at it. For sure, it is a disregard of the people's wishes. We've all seen it is a popular opinion from the MPs, not from the people. On resigning, Rigathi has nothing to lose in terms of the impeachment motion. Rigathi has once and again shown that for him, leadership is not a do or die kind of affair. And in this impeachment motion, it is very clear on the way he wants to move ahead with this. He's ready to go with it till the end, even if it calls to go to the Supreme Court or the High Court to make sure that the Constitution and the motion and the way we should handle such issues are put across and clear to everyone who might want to approach it that way. So far, we've had the Parliament do its part, and just the other day, on Friday, there was a public participation in which the people spoke with one voice that they want them both gone. They want both of them out. It is not about Deputy President. It is not about the whatever is put across for him in terms of charges. It is not about punishing Gachagua. It is about what this regime has done to the people. And in this case, the people have spoken in one voice that ni Kufa Makanga, Kufa Dereva. Ama Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga. Some of them are arguing that ikiwezekana Dereva aende kwanza. Makanga akona change ya watu ya kurudisha. For others, wanasema Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga, Kufa Mechanic, Kufa Tout Boys. And the Tout Boys, for sure, you know, it is the likes of Wetangula, who is the National Assembly Speaker. In a way, he portrayed to have known about the impeachment of the Deputy President and made remarks before the motion was tabled in Parliament. And he is supposed to act as an arbitrary, as a neutral voice in the House, in the National Assembly. But in this case, he seems to be deeply involved in matters Deputy President impeachment, and not only him, but the whole speaker panel as demonstrated in the National Assembly, in the floor of the National Assembly. And now you wonder, of what gain is it to the people? Of what gain is it to the nation? Of what gain is it to a deteriorating health status? To the problem that lie in the higher education fund? Is the impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua going to release money to counties? Is it going to solve the formula that lies, that brings so much discourse within the county government and the National Assembly? Is impeaching Gachagua going to bring money into the pockets of the common mwananchi? Are we going to see roads roll out just because Gachagua has been impeached? Does he hold the key to the national treasury? Does he hold the keys to the funds that are needed to uplift the life of common mwananchi? Your answers are as well as mine, that this impeachment motion will solve none of that. It's just greedy members of parliament out there to make sure that, most probably, in the way it looks like, Gachagua has refused to take part in eating the money, or else it could be that the share that Gachagua is getting is not comfortable with. So they want to do away with the person who holds them back in terms of eating and looting public money. Because what are the reasons? If not the people's reasons, then it is up to their personal reasons. And it's also clear that our members of parliament who we voted for have gone on and adapted a new job. And that job has been given to them from State House. We've elected leaders, but the same leaders are working for State House. And I took fault on what Gachagua said sometimes back when he was talking about the Gen Z demonstration and trying to cover the MPs in saying that the MPs were not at fault. They were trying to just work on the party directives. And in his speech, he said that the members of parliament work in conjunction with the party policies. So the party had decided certain things, and that is what the members of parliament were out executing. But then you ask yourself, as they do that, were they elected by the president, or were they elected by the people? Were they elected to work for the president, or were they elected to work for the people? And looking at the charges of the deputy president Rigathi Gachagua, you wonder who came up with these charges, because for every one charge against deputy president, it accounts to almost 6 charges to the president. That's why watu wanasema Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga, they are in this together. In any case, the deputy president is the principal assistant to the president. So whatever he's doing, he's just working on what the president has shown him or does. Let us look maybe at the charges. First one, Gachagua charges in terms of making insightful remarks. Then, the president has incited the public more. On the wake of Gen Z protest, instead of sympathizing with the country, instead of being a father, instead of being a leader, he came out guns blazing and calling protesters some words that provoked them to continue with the demonstrations. It is the same president that took to the public to talk about the sword, that hii sword nilipewa wakati wa kuapishwa, mnadhani ni ya kukatakata mboga. If that is not insightful, then I wonder what insightful is, and what insightful words have Rigathi uttered. The president is on record in public talking about mambo ni matatu. Were these mambo ni matatu a prayer session or a prayer a line? Is it the words that are used in a massage parlor to massage people so they can feel better? Was mambo ni matatu used to make us our ego go up? Was it supposed to bring better services to us, this mambo ni matatu? Because until now, since the words were said, we have not seen any better change just because someone said mambo ni matatu. So what other insightful remarks are way more heinous than this? You've seen Farah Maalim talk about he would kill 5,000 people if he was in power. Isn't that insightful? Are they having a problem with Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua as an individual, or are they having a problem with Deputy Gachagua as the office holder? Let us look at the second charge, and you talk about undermining the president. And what has the president said about this? He's been mum. He's the one who is being undermined, but he's not shown being undermined by the deputy president, who is a better witness in terms of undermining the position of the president than the president himself. Is the president fighting this war using proxies, the likes of Sudi? Is the president fighting these wars through proxies of the likes of the Muranga Women Rep and his spouse, the MP for the hometown of the deputy president? Why does it look more individual than more of what responsibilities of the deputy president is and where he has failed as the office holder, not just as Rigathi Gachagua? Deputy president is an office. Let them take it as an office, and if they have individual issues with Rigathi Gachagua, they should solve them individually. In the past regime, in which the president Ruto was the deputy president, Uhuru as the president, he himself talked about his deputy undermining the office of the president. And it was not just words, it was in actions. Because how, as a principal assistant to the president, do you take up every morning to campaign for an election that is 3 years out, 2 years out, 1 year out, 4 years out, instead of being the principal assistant the Constitution has awarded you with? He's on record jeopardizing the works of the previous regime. And that's why we keep on saying that the Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga. The president is 100% more guilty of these charges than Rigathi is. In any case, Rigathi is just the principal assistant to the president. So, whatever he's doing, probably he has learned it from his boss. He's acting on behalf of the boss. So, Kufa Makanga, Kufa Dereva. Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga. And this time round, Kufa Hadi Mechanic. Because Raila, instead of coming and building and making stronger the government, he has distorted government operations completely. All in the name of being elected for the AU seat. Let's go to the next one. and that is the attack on the judiciary. Then we go back to what we have said earlier in terms of mambo ni matatu, in terms of the sword. Hii sword nilipatiwa wakati wa kuapishwa, mnadhani ni ya kukata mboga. Is in the judiciary responsible in charging, deciding whether someone is guilty or not? Is it the work of the president to decide who is guilty and not? Is it the work of the president to know who should be jailed or not? So when we talk about the attack on the judiciary, the mambo ni matatu and the remarks on the sword cuts through the hearts of the judiciary. Because you wonder, they are the three, we have three arms of government in which they are independent. So the president should not act like he wants to work, take up the job of the judiciary, whereas he has already successfully taken up the work of the National Assembly. He controls the National Assembly and the legislators from State House. They take orders from the president instead of taking orders from the people. We have seen lately in terms of public participation, where we have public participation on an impeachment, but we have no public participation in terms of Adani involvement in our key sectors: health, electricity, and airlines. Morara the other day talked about being diverted to not know what is happening so that the government may finalize all things. It might be, but then this will fall back on them. The Kenyan population is very much woke on what is happening. We saw the other day in the news a man crying for help just because of the transition from NHIF to SHIF. A very frustrated man. So for every charge that Deputy President is being charged with, it accounts for like 5 charges to the president himself. Let's go to the next one: violating the oath of office. So who is the head of state? It is the president. He took an oath to uphold the Constitution. Has he done that? The finance bill was announced as unconstitutional. What has he done about that? He's just disregarded the courts. The housing levy was announced as unconstitutional. What has he done about that? He's used the back door to make sure that it goes through. And now, the very reason, the new funding model for the higher education, it has been announced as unconstitutional, but it is still going on. The courts say that it should stop, take a hold for now, as the students continue with the old funding model, in a timeline given for them to sort the issues out. If that is not the disregard or the violation of oath of office, he took an oath of office to uphold and protect the Constitution. So how does disregarding court orders uphold the constitution. I will repeat that the deputy president is the principal assistant to the president. So whatever charge is being charged with as the deputy president, in which the president himself has not spoken against, it means he speaks on behalf of the presidency. If not that the case, then the president should be the key witness in all these charges. And let us allow the president to have a split. So now we can charge the deputy president on his own. That's what I'm saying. Resigning for deputy president should not be an option, because he is going nowhere. So for those purporting that the deputy president should resign, that is what they hoped for. But as we Kenyans, we tell him to push on, not as Rigathi Gachagua, but as the office holder of the deputy president office. Let us all continue with this front they opened until we find the end game of it. And I'm very happy about Rigathi Gachagua that he's not shown any interest or any do or die situation for the presidency come 2027. He's not saying that he won the presidency come 2027. He's not saying that he wants to take up the president's job. And if this would go through, then he would be a kingmaker. He would be happy with that. He has shown that elective seats don't really push him to make such some decisions. Let's go to the next one. About amassing wealth amounting to 5.2 billion. In my Facebook page, I put across the question on where we explained on the cabinet secretary's net worth rising from around with 100 million for a CS who wants, maybe let's give them a million a month for 22 months, in which 1 month they forgo their salary to chip in the drought crisis. So 21 million, how does 21 million become 100 million for the CSs? No one answered that for us. And how do you want a deputy president to answer you that from what he had to what he has now? And the deputy president is very clear on these claims that whatever they have spelled out, it is literally what his brother, the late, had. And he's pleaded with them that whoever has an issue with him, he should leave his brother out of this. And I don't want to dwell more on this, because on Tuesday, or he himself will explain it to the people, and it will come to light on what they are doing with this information. But I want us to look at the president himself. We are still having pending issues or pending answers in regards to the Western Hotel. How did he acquire it? What about the story in the dailies on the Saturday Nations about a farm linked to Ruto in the Ruai land case, where people were being displaced? What have we got out of the allegations that Andani is linked to Ruto, Mr. Satan is a lawyer or represents one of the farms in the saga. We've not had anyone answer that, but we want to claim Rigathi has amassed wealth illegally. So, if Rigathi has, of which is part of the presidency, can we be shown what Ruto has amassed in comparison to his deputy, so that we can really say, no, you can't even surpass your boss in terms of wealth? On misleading the public, which is another charge. I mean, who has done it more? Ruto promised 270,000 jobs to UK by 27 of last month. How many have we taken to Germany? Ruto has promised gas for 300 shillings, giving hope to Kenyans, which never manifested. Is it in that misleading the public? When he says serikali ya mama mboga, where is this mama mboga? He just misled the people and conned his way to the presidency using the mama mboga. Is it that way bigger of a misleading the people than anything else? Conning your way through to power and then disregarding the people completely. He said serikali ya mama mboga. How many mama mbogas have we seen execute the business of the government in their capacities, with the mama mboga herself wailing more out there in their markets, pondering about the promises made to them? By now, they ought to have been in better places than they are today. What about the boy he said was alive when we all know the boy was dead on national TV? Imagine the hurting of that parent, not even a sorry comment to that parent. Misleading the people on the number of deaths that happened during the demonstrations. Isn't that a bigger mislead to the public? Let's talk about bullying and threatening. And I will go back to the sword remarks and then the mambo ni matatu remarks. All these are not the words of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. All these are remarks of the president himself, and as the principal assistant to the president. Like in football, the assistant manager to the coach will act as he sees his boss do. He wants to replicate what his boss does, all compliment on his job. Then, if that's so, then Rigathi has done it best. So who should we charge? The one who sent the message, on the one who got the message, acted on it, and the boss never asked a question? So Kufa, Dereva, Kufa, Makanga. We should have a fresh start for everything. This country really needs a fresh start. In any case, the president has aggrieved Kenyans more than anyone else. Kufa, Dereva, Kufa, Makanga. Impeach both. I would love to see a scenario whereby they come to a conclusion, the MPs against and the MPs to read agree that it is time to have a fresh start and impeach the presidency unanimously and listen to the people. The people want both of them done with. And maybe we can go back to the polls and make another decision if we feel that the presidency now is worthy of continuing. We would put them back. But unfortunately, you realize that they don't want even to constitute the IEBC. Some people are saying, oh, private cases, or the private sector, or how sure are we that these private cases are not being brought forward by the government using proxies to derail the process of constituting the IEBC? They should come clean. They should have a word with the judiciary. They should work together, because this is a matter of public interest, that we should have the IEBC. So the courts should act with speed to make sure that any case that is there against the IEBC, against the constituting of the IEBC, should be sought, and this process done with, so that we can move on as a country. No one is giving information about the by-elections that ought to be have had. We've had little information in regards to by-election, or are they not being done? Could we be finding a situation where the members of parliament who have been taken up other seats, like cabinet secretaries, still taking the salaries for members of parliament for those constituencies in which they were, and therefore not having a by-election? I know that most probably the IEBC would go for someone who is uncontested for those seats and place them as the MPs. But how sure are we that the non-contested is not just a proxy of the former person of that office? We've seen weird things in this country, and this wouldn't be any lesser. Next, for Kenyans, I plead with all Kenyans. I plead with all Kenyans who are patriots that next time when we vote, let us vote for leaders, not for a party. We keep on making these mistakes. We keep on repeating this mistake of voting the party and not voting for leaders. We keep repeating these mistakes of punishing a leader by voting a bad leader. If we would have voted for individuals, if we would have voted for leaders instead of voting for the party, we would be having a parliament that cannot be bought. But now you see we have a majority where ODM is the majority, maneuvering parliament as ODM and not as members of parliament. Then we have the Kenya Kwanza coalition, which has gone into bed with ODM or some Azimio, and made them more stronger to push things without the involvement of Mwananchi. Let us put this issue of parties aside, and if possible, for any president we ought to vote, we should make sure that the MPs don't come from that party. That he should have the minority, the most minority part of the parliament. And let us vote leaders. That the leadership part of this individual should come first, then we should look at the party later. Independent candidates, the better, so that they don't get pushed around by party policies. That when a party goes into bed with the government, we don't see a party being broken into two halves, like in the situation of Jubilee, although they have reclaimed the party back. We must, as a people, come out clean on this and make sure we vote in leaders, not to punish other leaders, not to choose a party, but to choose leaders who have good intentions for the people. And lastly, I want to talk about Morara Kebaso. Whatever happened to Morara Kebaso in Bomas of Kenya should be condemned completely. Anyone caught on video throwing chairs, orchestrating the beating of Morara, the likes of TJ Kajuan, being fans to Goonism, and celebrating that a fellow Kenyan is being beaten just for wanting to air his grievances. In any case, whatever Morara was going to air was aired by most people in that hall. Kufa, Dereva, Kufa, Makanga was the unanimous call. For the members of parliament who want the impeachment of deputy president to be the ones putting across public participation, it's quite a no. Let's pray for Morara. He's a good hope. He's a big hope for this country. He shows character, unless he does otherwise. Maybe it's the hope we've been all waiting for. But if he messes, we have no other alternative. Just like a staircase, we will use his situation to move to the next. We've been there. During the Gen Z, we have had people we thought they were very promising, but then they failed. The people will move with the staircase as it goes, and we will get to the top. So Morara is a big hope. Let's pray for him. Let's pray that he comes out stronger and pushes and has the resilience to push on to a better country, to a better nation, to better governance. He's been doing a very good job. Maybe he's the hope we've been all waiting for. To you Kenyans, let us all play our part. It is not small. Let us just play our part wherever we are. Haba na haba hujaza kibaba. Play your part, I play my part. The other one plays his part, and God does the rest. And we all come out victorious. And make sure that whatever we do it with a clean heart and with this nation at heart and the good of this nation at heart. I will leave it at that. God bless you. God bless Kenya. See you next time. Thank you.